Okay, hey guys, it's Multicallum. Now, I don't usually do this type of video, just talking to the camera. I'm trying it out now just because there's something I want to talk about kind of immediately, and I don't need to do a super high production video just to talk to you about this. And it's sort of about this tweet that I put out the other day. So during the Oculus Connect 6 keynote on day one, Mark Zuckerberg announced Oculus Link for the Oculus Quest, where you would be able to use a USB-C or USB 3 cable to connect your Oculus Quest to a PC and use it as a PC headset. Your PC will actually see the Oculus Quest as an Oculus Rift. You can use the Oculus desktop software, you can use Steam VR, you can use whatever you use for your Rift or your Rift S with an Oculus Quest. And the first thing I thought, and posted on Twitter, was, did Oculus just make the Oculus Rift S almost entirely redundant? And the real answer to that isn't so clear. It's still a sort of grey area at the moment. For some people, the answer will be yes, and for some people, the answer will be no. And I kind of want to go into why that is, what this means for the future of the Rift platform, the future of Oculus as a whole, and what this means for the current term, for prospective Oculus product buyers, recent Rift buyers, recent Quest buyers, recent PC gaming players who have just bought a new PC that's maybe just VR compatible. And so, yeah, just to give a few more details, the Oculus Link cable that Oculus are selling themselves is not required to use Oculus Link. They claim that pretty much any USB 3 cable, whether that's an A to C port or a C to C port, will work with the Oculus Link. The only thing is, though, is that from their findings, they believe they couldn't find a cable that gave both the length, the low latency, and was also thin and light enough to justify Oculus Link being a good experience, which is why they've created their cable. Now, their cable is $79, so it's not cheap by any means for a cable, but it is fiber optic, which they claim helps with power delivery and latency, and it's also 5 meters long, which, if any of you guys have used a PC-based VR headset before, you will know that length of the cable is actually kind of important for a comfortable gaming session. Now, if you look at the picture they showed where you've got the kind of the standard charger coming out the side of the Oculus Quest going down, that would be a really horrible place to put a cable. You know, if you're sort of wearing the headset and the cable's here and it's pulling down from here, that could be really uncomfortable for players. So they claim that their cable also comes with an ergonomic solution to that issue. They haven't said what that is, but if I were to put money on it, I would say that it's most likely some kind of plastic attachment that would go on here that would feed the cable through there to go out the back. Sort of like it currently does on the Rift. That would be my guess anyway. They've actually not fully gone into detail about that yet. So we'll see as time moves on. So that's the Oculus Link cable. It is as simple as plugging it in. Now, that plugs into your PC. That does not plug into your graphics card, which opens up a whole new question about the quality of the experience. Now, this is kind of the big debate at the moment. There are people trying it at OC6, and I recommend you check out a channel like Adam Savage's Tested, where they got hands-on with Oculus Link just this week at OC6, and they talk a little bit about their experience and how that worked. But one of the things you are dealing with here when you're talking about using a USB connection for everything, I mean, it's essentially decoding the video, it's encoding the video, and then the Quest is decoding the video. So rather than where our current headsets will plug either an HDMI or DisplayPort straight into the graphics card, which allows throughput for video just in the same way as it would a TV, USB A or C, USB is transferring data, which means there is extra work and extra latency going in there, where the PC is encoding that data, sending it over to the Quest, and the Quest's hardware is decoding the data and displaying it, and also sending the tracking data to and from its own cameras. Now, from what people have seen at OC6, this isn't necessarily a problem, but there were a few moments where artifacts did show up. That's something that will classically happen with compressed video. Now, they want to avoid compressed video as much as possible, but as of right now, there's only so much you can do. I mean, it's quite clear that Oculus Link has been in development for a while, but Quest was not designed to be a PC VR headset. This definitely came up as an idea later on during development, but certainly before launch. And so for a lot of Rift S owners, the question is my new headset redundant? Now, technically no. Rift S, firstly, provides an 80Hz display, where the Quest provides a 72Hz display, so there is an 8 frame per second difference in the games we're looking at. And even though Oculus Rift S has a slightly lower resolution than the Oculus Quest and is LCD rather than OLED, we have, from what we are aware at the moment, PC games aren't pushed through to Quest at the Quest's native resolution. So that's not really a problem anyway then for Rift S users. And also with the Rift S, you have LCD screens, which means you've got RGB subpixels to every pixel, which helps get rid of the screen door effect a little bit, and just helps fill in the gaps between those pixels, which original Rift and Vive owners will know all too much about. Now, the other thing is that Quest does have hardware IPD adjustment, so that is something to consider. But at the same time, if you have a Rift S and you're comfortable with it, you are having a better experience. But now let's talk about new buyers, or prospective buyers, shall we say. Now, if we've got someone who's considering getting into VR, we can split them up in the camps of, do they have a PC or do they not have a PC? Of course, if they don't have a PC, we're looking PSVR, Oculus Quest, Oculus Go. We can leave that side of the argument now for now. Let's talk about people who have gaming PCs or want gaming PCs and are looking to get into VR. Now let's talk about their options, because Oculus Link has put a really weird dent in the Rift S, not for people who already own it, but for prospective buyers, because we can talk all the live-long day about how running a native experience like Rift S is going to be more comfortable. The headset is physically more comfortable with its Halo band. It doesn't have the battery inside, so it's a lot lighter. There are all these things to consider, but the Rift S is already sold as a compromised experience. Maybe compromised isn't the right word, but Rift S is already the system that makes compromises. Let's not use the word compromised, but it makes compromises for the sake of cost. The Rift S is $399, or over here, £399, which is tax. It's £399. Which, you know, if you compare that to a Valve Index, which over here is £920, you are looking at two very different products. And of course, there are things in between, whether you want to look at the HP Reverb or anything like that, or the original Vive, the Vive Cosmos even. You have a range of headsets to choose from. Now, if you're the kind of PC gamer looking to get into VR who wants raw power, they want the best experience they can get, they're going to want to get the Valve Index. and let's say they don't want to set up base stations, and that is where Oculus comes in with a $399 price point, the easiest setup of any VR headset I've used up until now, and though their ecosystem is a walled-off garden, it's a very user-friendly one. It's walled off for the same reason that Apple products are walled off. It is all done for the user experience and to make it easy for people to get into these technologies, whether or not they're particularly tech-minded. And so $399 is a fairly solid price point for what they're selling the Rift S at, but if anyone asks me now, what VR headset should I buy, and they say they don't want to spend all that money on a Valve Index or a Vive Cosmos, I don't know if I can in good faith recommend the Rift S to anyone. Now, I'm not going to know for sure until I get my hands on with Oculus Link come November, but right now, just purely as a value proposition, which is what the Rift S is sold as. The Rift S is a value proposition for VR. Quest is now more valuable for the same price. Sure, you're getting a slightly more compromised PC VR experience. You're running at 72 Hz. There's potential for slightly more, artifacting. You've got a slightly smaller tracking range with only 4 cameras instead of 5. But to make up for those compromises, there's the portability. It's also a standalone headset, let's not forget. There are still apps like Oculus Venues that are available on Oculus's mobile products that are not available on Rift. Of course, you can take it anywhere. I just made that point. But then hand tracking, which, while they say they're exploring for Rift S, currently there is no definitive word on if Rift S will get hand tracking. And so, suddenly, the compromises you're making in PC VR are made up with things like portability. It's the Nintendo Switch of VR, where, if you want to buy Doom Eternal, you can go onto PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC and get that full 60 frames per second experience in 1080p, 4K, and get that really graphically enriching experience. Or, as is the case for some buyers, you might want to buy the Nintendo Switch version because even though you're losing that graphical fidelity and you're losing 30 of those frames every second, you've now got a portable game. You can play it on a Switch Lite that is so small that it can fit in some large jean pockets. But if you have the original Switch, you can take it portably or dock it into your TV, and it's a TV console as well. And you accept that graphical compromise because of all the added features you're getting, particularly if you're someone who travels. And now, essentially, what Oculus is doing is they are turning the Quest into their Switch. If you want to plug it into a PC and make it a PC headset, you can. It's a slightly more compromised experience, but you can also unplug it and take your headset on the go. And that is such a valuable feature that with these headsets being the same price, I can't in good faith recommend to new buyers getting the Rift S. Because if you really are going to argue for tech specs, if you're going to say, yeah, well, those extra frames per second are really important to me, no artifacts, having a direct video connection to my graphics card, my very powerful graphics card, is super important to me, I want the full PC experience, then why are you buying Rift S in the first place? It's already a compromised experience. It's running at 10 Hz less than the last generation of headsets. And, if you want, you can go towards Index for 120 or maybe even 144 Hz, depending on your PC spec. It's just, at the moment, the whole point of the Oculus Rift S was for it to be the budget system, the one that you only spend $399 buying, but you get all this value. It may not be as technically impressive as other headsets, but it does the job, and it does a good job. Good enough for $399. And so now when talking about Oculus Quest, a headset that already without the PC does a good enough job, a fantastic job for $399, you can now plug into a PC and turn into a Rift S? I mean, even if you want to add the cost of the cable on top, right? So now we're talking $478, right? Even if you want to add that cost on there and say, okay, so now the Quest, if you want it to be a PC headset, is $478. That extra $79, is it not worth it? That's $79 to get access to eventually hand tracking, to get access to a headset that is entirely portable. Sure, you can have your VR set up in your room. You can have a room dedicated to it in your house. But there is value in being able to travel with this headset. I don't know. This has come off as more of a rant than I intended it to be. This is from someone who does not own a Rift S. My two Oculus products right now are the Oculus Rift and the Oculus Quest. And an Oculus Go, but that's on loan to someone at the moment. Essentially, my point is, I was considering buying a Rift S, and eventually, one day I will, just for the sake of adding it to the collection, in the same way I'll buy the two DK units. But if someone asks me if they want, they want to get into VR, even if they have a PC, if they don't want to spend all the money on an Index or a Cosmos, I'm gonna recommend the Quest. And for all we know, in November, Oculus Link will come out and it'll suck and it won't work very well, and then maybe that will change everything. But as of right now, where people are testing it at OC6 and it's entirely usable, yeah, I mean, the added value of it being a portable system, I don't know. I just think Oculus has sort of killed the Rift S, and it's changed my entire perspective on what the Rift S ever was. When they showed off its design, its radically different design, and they said they'd worked with Lenovo in making this, I had two thoughts. Firstly, Sony has a pattern on the Halo band style, if I'm correct. And part of the reason Oculus would partner with Lenovo is, rather than paying Sony to use that type of headband, Lenovo already has the license to do so from their own Windows mixed reality headset. But the other thing was, it made me wonder if Oculus didn't want to manufacture their own headsets anymore. It made me wonder if they had decided that other bigger tech giants like Lenovo, who have years more hardware making experience, I wondered if they were going to turn to them more often, and Quest would be the last headset we see with this Rift-like design. But now that all this is happening, it's making me think it's the other way round. It's making me think that maybe Oculus never really cared about the Rift S. We heard rumours of them cancelling their supposed Rift 2 and all this, and we're still seeing more half-dome prototypes at OC6, and that's really exciting. But it feels to an extent like the Rift S was given to Lenovo just to be like, look, we need a PC headset update. We're dropping the price. We need something that we can actually profit on at that price, because remembering the Rift was a lot more expensive, and I think they were kind of losing money at that $350 price point. I think they were like, we need something with inside-out tracking that's easy to use, but really, the Quest is our future as Oculus. And I think that's kind of been coming for a while. John Carmack has been entirely focused on mobile VR. He's always said he believes that's the future of the medium, is a standalone device. Yeah, and I think OC6 was just proof of that. I mean, that entire keynote was Quest. I mean, I think Go and Rift S were mentioned maybe once in passing, and that was just to say, hey, by the way, we haven't forgotten them. All these games we're talking about, they could be played on your Rift S. I don't know, I feel like what they're doing with Oculus Link, what they're doing with hand tracking, and what they're doing with Quest in general, I think their roadmap is turning the Quest into Oculus's only product, which is what I think they should have done from the beginning. I was saying this when the Quest was first announced, that I wanted it to have PC capability because it seemed a no-brainer. And it seems Oculus thinks the same thing. And so I think in the end, Quest will become Oculus's only product. Go feels almost redundant if it weren't for the fact it's half the price of the Quest, which is its only selling point at this point. And Rift S now feels sort of redundant as well. I think in any future Quest we may have, which I think is probably sort of 3 years down the line or something along those lines. Yeah, I think 3 years makes sense. Maybe 2, but I'd say 3 years down the line. That next Quest, I think, could be their only product. I think Oculus Link, by that point, will be extremely polished. I think they'll design their headset with PC capability in mind on top of it. And I think they'll phase out the Go. Maybe they'll have multiple products in the original Quest. Maybe the original Quest will drop down to $199 and their new Quest will be $399 and have all this extra power and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think the future of Oculus is one singular headset, which is the future Quest that can also plug into a PC. And yeah, I don't know why the Rift S existed. You gotta think a year ago they already knew that Link was on the roadmap. So in that case, why did they bother releasing the Rift S? They could have coasted on the CV1 until now. I mean, the Rift S came out 5 months ago? They could have coasted an extra 5 months on the CV1 and then just said the Quest is our new PC headset too. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to try and do these videos more often, hopefully a little less ranty than this video was. I just really wanted to talk about all my thoughts in what Oculus Link means for the future of Oculus. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the next video. I am still finishing up the CCP Games mini documentary. I know I said that would come out probably in August, and we're now going into October. It's been an insanely busy month for me. At various jobs I do, and also working out my panel for EGX 2019, which is in October. It is on Oculus and Epic Games, the morality of software exclusivity. We're going to talk about the pros, we're going to talk about the cons, we're going to have developers on the panel, we're going to have gamers on the panel. It's a very chill discussion. You know, we're not going to get riled up about it. We know it can be controversial, but we're just going to have a really nice conversation about it and talk about it from an unbiased point of view. For us, it's really just an interesting topic to look at in the gaming industry today. So if you're going to be at EGX 2019, please come check out our panel. It's on Sunday the 20th at 12 p.m. in the EGX Fringe Theatre. It's going to be a great time. And yeah, that's what I've been busy with. So I will get that CCP Games video out, hopefully within the next month. I will post about it on Twitter as and when it's happening. And speaking of which, you can follow me on Twitter at Multicallum, exactly the same as my YouTube channel here. Though chances are, if you're watching this video, you're already on my Twitter. So either way, if whatever your thoughts are on the Oculus Link, Rift S, everything, please comment down below. I'm actually really interested in having a discussion with people at this at the time, so I will be keeping an eye on the comments. I will be replying because I'd love to discuss it further. I'm sure there are many Rift S owners who are still really strongly happy about their purchase, and I would love to hear from you. And yeah, see you guys next time.